Who would have guessed it that this was going to be the last episode of the season after the fact that, yeah, the manga has ended now. And, well, it ended a little while back, but not the point. The point is that why? Why? Like, this isn't a bad ending, per se, of a cliffhanger, because obviously this is probably one of the best ways of saying, yep, we're at the final stage. The next season will cover the finale of My Hero Academia. My problem is more or less, why here? I feel like there was a different spot you could have done it. I don't know. Literally, you could have had it be end where All Might pulls out the Iron Might suit. But whatever. My complaints aside, that's not really the point. Let's just complain about something inconsequential to what I think about this episode. And this episode actually wraps things up pretty well for certain things. Mainly, Himiko Toga. I will agree to something a comment said on my last video. She lived the way she wanted to live. Like, I shouldn't kid myself. She is a villain, after all. It's similar to Dabi, which I will concede. Dabi had the chance to do something better. He chose to be a fucking nutjob. Toga, I mean, yeah, I would say she was kind of pushed into losing her ever-living fucking mind. But she could have kind of regressed herself. She had the opportunities to possibly fix herself up and say, maybe stabbing people and drinking their blood might not be the best method of helping my thing. But in her case, it's more or less that everyone was pushing her back into a corner. And all she really needed was a genuine support. And yeah, so Ochaco is, well, dying. And Toga is trying to rectify this by becoming Ochaco and using that method to essentially do a blood transfusion in order to save her life. And it's an interesting way of doing this, because this brings back into how Twice was able to save Toga by using a clone of Toga to have her blood transferred to Toga's blood back in season 5. Nice little callback. And yeah, we get to see her epilogue, essentially. Her accepting the outcome and accepting who she is. And happy that Ochaco was there and saved her in a sense. So she died doing a heroic thing, despite the fact that the world's gonna know her as the villain, Himiko Toga. It's a bittersweet ending for her, and it's fine. It's what the character has concluded towards. Personally, would I have had her die? Maybe not. She could have at least found redemption, considering that we know that Dabi is too fucking stubborn to die, the piece of shit. But, whatever. But let's go to how All Might is pushing the shit out of All For One. Like, it's quirkless versus the ultimate quirk. And All For One's just getting his shit kicked in. And I like that All Might is using, like, different abilities from his students, showing how much of an influence they were to him. And, yeah, Iron Might is kicking the fuck out of All For One and pushing him to the point where, yeah, he's losing his ever fucking mind. Because All For One, this is fucking embarrassing, you dumb fucking piece of shit. Like, how are you getting pushed back by an Iron Man-esque hero at this point? And you have all these quirks. And I like that All Might is essentially taunting him, as well as saying that he likes to fight long range so he can steal quirks. And now that that equation's out of the picture, he has to fight close range. Essentially saying that All For One is not a fighter in close range, which I find that an interesting tidbit, because let's be real, why would All For One decide to throw hands physically? I mean, he did it with All Might in season 3 because it's more of a, hey, you hurt me back then, let me hurt you with a strong punch because this is payback. But that's a special condition. Otherwise, he's not really going to want to fight in close range. Good call, All Might. And yeah, it concludes in this awesome showing of determination that All For One and All Might are going to have their final match here and now. And that Deku is alerted of this through the Vestige world, through All Might's Vestige. And it all leads to the end. Like, this is the finale of this season. And I have something to say on that matter. It feels incomplete. And I'll get to that in the season review. But as an episode, 10 out of 10, it does its job well. And I like the fact that we're just getting the big setup. The final matches are here. All For One, the true All For One, obviously. And then Shigaraki / All For One. So essentially the users of All for One versus the users of One for All. So quite the fitting matchup to end this season on as a cliffhanger. Personally, I preferred if they just said, we're going to continue this and this, like, have season 7 legit be the final season, just with a lot more episodes, rather than just cutting this off and having it be, say, a movie or another season. But, you know, what's done is done. I can only review what we're given. And what we're given, this episode was fine as a whole in terms of the season. Oh boy, you're going to have to wait for the season review. I have way too much to say for one episode, and I'm not going to hijack the episode review by having a season review in it. But overall, I mean, damn good episode. I won't deny that.